Hey, so we got 24,000 YouTube subscribers. That just happened last night, and that is absolutely insane to us. When we began, we weren't sure anyone would want to watch us build this boat, but it seems at least 24,000 of you do. That's super cool. We're really psyched about that, so thank you.
Not only that, we also hit our goal of $1,200 per video on Patreon.
So what does that mean, 24,000 YouTube subscribers and 1,200 a video on Patreon? I mean, it sounds like we're making pretty good money. And in some ways, we're starting to get there. So we wanted to take this video and talk a little bit about the finances. I know that's something that a lot of people don't discuss, but we think it's important, and if anyone wants to do anything crazy like we're doing, having an idea of what it costs and how we figured all that out is huge. Because it's not like we're rich or have a giant endowment or trust fund that we're working out of or anything like that. We're really just two working class schmoes that are, you know, figuring out how to make this happen, and this is how we're doing it.
So let's go over that.
So building a boat is a pretty massively expensive and time-consuming endeavor, and our rough figures are at least 6 figures for the boat. I think we could build her for 75,000, 80,000 if push absolutely came to shove, and we did it as cheaply as we possibly could. And then after that, I mean, the sky's the limit. You know, we could spend $500,000 or more. It's kind of like building a small house, and that's how we look at it. So if she cost us somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 all said and done, well, that's what we would have spent building or buying a house. And that's, you know, to us, that's like an acceptable cost and a reasonable thing. So before Alex and I started on this endeavor, we both had halfway decent jobs. We've been working for several years and working our way up through the ranks. I was the head route setter at a big rock climbing gym, and I was making just a little over $2,000 a month, so that was take-home pay. And Alex was a little less, just under $2,000. So if you want to round it and just say our combined incomes were about $4,000 a month, and that's take-home, that's after taxes and everything. We both had health insurance. I had a 401k. We both had paid vacation. You know, the jobs were not amazing, but they were decent. We were definitely getting by. But it's not what we wanted to do. We weren't particularly happy at those jobs. So for us to do the boat, Alex had to move down here, which meant him leaving his job. So for a while we were living on just our savings and my income, and then Alex picked up a part-time job, and we've quit jobs and gotten jobs, and we've talked about that a bit in the past with the videos, so we won't go into it too much. But we're finally at the point where Alex is full-time on the project and has been for a little while, and I'm close to full-time. I'm still working, averaging 2-3 days a week for Tom, but it's really great. It's flexible. If I say I can't work this week, that's fine. If I say, hey man, I need to make some money, I got parts to buy, give me as many hours as you can, that happens too. So that's really nice. So for Alex and I to live here on the family homestead and to build the boat, they're just life expenses that we need to pay. So every month, between the two of us, we've got $950 in student loans that we pay. I have a master's degree in education, and Alex has a bachelor's degree in photography, and both of those cost us some pretty serious money. We pay the taxes for the property that we use, so for where the boathouse is, for the farmhouse that we live in. So the taxes and insurance for that come up to $420 a month. There's about $100 a month for an electric bill, give or take. Pay $110 for our cell phones, so $55 a piece a month. Pay $75 for basic internet, so we can upload videos and do all that stuff, answer your questions and check emails. We both have cars, and that requires car insurance, so between the two of us, that's another $130 a month. And then there's some costs for running the program. So there's $50 a month that goes to the Adobe systems that Alex uses for all the editing. $15 a month that goes to Epidemic Sound. And then there's annual fees that go with maintaining the website, which I believe are $200 a year. And then we splurged, and I think it's like $12 a month, we got Netflix. And that's our really only superfluous expense that we have. So all total, those monthly bills that come in every month are $1,862. So when we were both working full-time, that was nothing. That was less than one of our incomes. Right now, that is almost our entire monthly income. And that doesn't include things like food and fuel and expenses for materials. So with having $1,200 per video in donations, through Patreon, and the little bit of ad revenue that we get from YouTube, which isn't a ton and it fluctuates wildly, but it does help. and the little bit we get from people sending in some donations here and there and buying some merchandise sales. And with me working 1 to 3 days a week, we have enough money to keep our heads above water, to buy the materials for the boat, and to keep forging ahead, which is fantastic. And it's super amazing that this summer we'll be able to spend that much more time working on the boat and that much less time out at the jobs chasing the money. So on Patreon, we're making $1,200 a video. So we do 2 videos a month because we don't charge for these Q&As. We just ask for the donations for the longer videos from the patrons. And how Patreon is set up is that there's caps. So some people will donate as many times a month as we upload a video. Other people will only do it once. Some people do it twice. It's all different, and if you get on Patreon, you can check it out and see how that works. So it's not like we take home $2,400 every month. By the time we lose a little bit to Patreon for fees and taxes, and then some people have caps, so we'll get the full pay for the first video of the month, but we'll get a little over half of that for the second video. So right now that equals up to enough money to keep our heads above water. So if Alix and I weren't working on the boat at all, we weren't buying any other materials, and we were just kind of sitting in the house existing, it's enough money. So that's why I'm still working a couple days a week, is that's that extra income so that we can buy paint, we can buy fuel, we can rent the skidder and get it trucked in here to go move timber, that kind of thing. So although financially right now we have enough to keep our heads above water and keep chugging along, one of the big things that we've lost is health insurance. And for a project like this, where the risks of getting injured, even if it's just a slip with a chisel and a couple stitches, is pretty high. So health insurance is something that we really hope that in the next year or so that we can be able to afford. Because right now, if we were to pay out of pocket for health insurance, there's just no way. And to get a job with health insurance would mean full-time work, and that would not really work as well with us making progress on the boat and being able to get the videos out. So right now we're functioning without it, and we just kind of have our fingers crossed that nothing too bad happens, knock on wood. So that brings us to our next goal. And our next goal for Patreon is if we can get to the point where we have $2,500 coming in per video, which is a little more than double what we have right now. With caps, that'll work out to be roughly, our guess, about $4,000 a month take home after taxes and everything. And that would put us where we were before we left our jobs to come do this project. And that would be amazing. If we get to that point, we assume we would also have a little bit increase in the ad revenue as YouTube keeps ticking up. And we assume donations and merchandise sales will kind of keep trickling in like they are. And between all of that combined, we should have enough money to be able to buy health insurance as well. And that would be really amazing. We would have enough money to work full-time on the project. We could buy what we needed when we needed it. Things like getting the ballast keel moved, we could have just hired a crane to come in and do it instead of spending 4 days moving it. There's a lot of things like that open up. And being able to start putting a little money away would be amazing. When we left, we both had a little bit of savings. And then I cashed in my 401k when I left the gym. And that worked out to be about $7,000 that we took home. And then we immediately spent $3,000 on Victoria. So there's not much of that left. We got about $3,000 in the bank between the two of us. So although we're making a little money off Patreon and the ad revenue and some donations, it's still nowhere near what we were making before we left our jobs. And it certainly still does not have health insurance, which is a decent concern for us. And it would be really great to be able to get back to that point where we can afford health insurance and we can maybe start rebuilding those savings that so far we have been draining. So finances can always be a little ho-hum and kind of depressing at times, but we really thank you for sticking there with us and hearing, how we're affording this and what our expenses look like. And we really, really appreciate all the support. It's been unbelievable. I mean, the fact that we have 24,000 YouTube subscribers and that we actually can spend the vast majority of our time working towards this build and towards getting this boat in the water is amazing for us. We know it's a slow process, and we're absolutely amateurs and probably are going to work 5 times harder to get this boat in the water than a professional boat builder would. But we know that, and we're up for it. That's all part of the challenge and the journey. So we are super psyched to be on it. We are incredibly thankful that people are interested and that they're following and that they're supporting. It means the world to us. You really are helping to make our dream come true. And we're just over the moon that you're getting some enjoyment out of following along. So thank you.
So thank you for watching. We hope this gave you guys a glimpse into our expenses and how we're making a project like this work. And thank you all for the support. Stay tuned for the next video, which will be out next Friday, and that'll actually be about shaping the keel that we're sitting on right now and the ballast keel that's behind us.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Check it out.